Olive Branch Farm. It's Ashley here with you again, and it's Mr. Brown's last day on our farm. So why is it Mr. Brown's last day? Today he goes to a livestock auction, but it's not our 4-H Fair's livestock auction. So the reason that he didn't go to our 4-H Fair's livestock auction like he usually would is because this year our fair was virtual. Josie still did get to participate in the auction with Mr. Brown back there. However, with it being virtual this year, they don't have any packers to take the animal away like they would in normal years. So for auction, Joe's going to get a donation that's given by any fine donor or sponsor out there for our wonderful 4-H fair. We have a lot of really nice people that always turn out at the auction to bid up animals for our kids so they can get a return, because Joe did put her own money towards this weather. She did put some money towards his feed, and since there are no packers, they're not going to get that premium. So that means they're not going to get a price per pound on top of what a sponsor or bidder would bid on top of that amount of money. So Joe's actually going to be losing money this year. So it was either put Mr. Brown in the freezer and use him that way, or take him to a livestock auction house elsewhere to recoup a little bit of the money that my daughter invested in him, and that she can also invest next year in her upcoming 4-H project. So we chose to take him to a livestock auction. While he won't be going into our freezer, there's no guarantee he's going to go into someone else's freezer, but he can't stay here, guys. He's a Wether, so he has nothing to offer us. So today is Mr. Brown's last day. Mr. Brown, how you doing? All right, guys, so we're here. Not really knowing what's going on. This is our first time actually going to a livestock auction, so we're new. Unless it was like a 4-H one, this is totally new to us. So we're waiting in line. We're next to get Mr. Brown out of the car. So let's see how this goes. It's a hot one. Yep. Making us all hot and hateful. Bless you. Is it hot in here waiting? Yeah. So it's been a few days since we were at the livestock auction to take Mr. Brown to be auctioned off to earn Josie some money back. So I feel like the question is going to come up, why did you want to sell him instead of put him in your freezer? Well, the honest answer is I didn't. I didn't want to sell him. I wanted to butcher out the goat. Number one, my daughter gave it a name. It's really hard for her to understand, even at the age of 11, where her food comes from. Now, it's really weird because like the meat chickens, she's totally fine with butchering those out, and she doesn't really care that we butcher them to eat. But when it comes to the meat goat, she's always been just a little bit apprehensive, and the reason that I gave her a pass this year is because our fair was virtual. So this year, with it being virtual, we have a virtual auction, which is great. She's still gonna get some money there, but she wouldn't have gotten the $1 per pound, which really, when you think about it, that's a lot. That can be over half of her income for the animal. Not to mention, on normal years, we can sell 2 things at auction, 1 thing of separate species. So she would have sold meat chickens and her Market Wether. But this year, the meat chickens were bigger and wouldn't have made the auction because of the weight. But we knew that the bigger money maker for her was going to definitely be her meat wether. So this year, with only selling 1 animal and not getting the price per pound because there is no packer, and really, guys, we didn't have anything to do with him. We would have either eaten him and taken the loss, and she would have had to somehow figure out how to make money to buy her project next year, or we could take him to the livestock auction and she could get that money and put it back in her savings account for her project next year. We try to instill in her how much time, money, and care it takes to really put into these livestock 4-H projects, so that she understands what it's like for regular hobby farmers, homesteaders, or commercial farmers when it comes to raising out animals for market and understanding the time and money you put into them versus the money that you get back from them, and figuring out if it was worth it or if you needed to charge more, if we needed to cut feed costs further on down the road. So it just kind of helps her to learn those different types of lessons. So that's why we took him to a livestock auction. And guys, I'm going to tell you what, last year it was hard. I had tears shed when we took her Meat Weather to go get loaded onto the truck. And this year it was really emotional, even though he was just kind of crazy before we got him out to lead. But the more we worked with him, even though we spent less time working with this goat than we did last year, he really warmed up really fast. Joe built a bond with him. He wanted to be petted every time he came into the barn. So that's why it's a couple days later too. We were all a little emotional. Even Mark wasn't very happy that he went to auction. Doesn't mean he went to be somebody's dinner. Doesn't mean that he didn't, but we don't know that. We're going to sleep easy not knowing if he went to be a pet or if he went to be someone's food, which is honestly what he's meant to be. He is bred specifically to be a market animal, to go make weight and be sold to butcher, to process, to feed people here in our local communities. So we can't really be too upset about that, but I just wanted to kind of bring you guys along on that. I think that's going to do it for us here today on Mulberry Branch Farm, y'all. I really appreciate you being with us as we said goodbye to Mr. Brown, explained why we had to say goodbye to Mr. Brown. So until next time, guys, thanks so much for being here with us on Mulberry Branch Farm. We appreciate you coming along on our journeys. If you found yourself enjoying the video, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, drop us a comment, subscribe. It helps us out a whole lot. And if you want to keep up with me, my little farm, and my little family, all you have to do is follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We post almost daily while there is a delay here on YouTube. But until next time, guys, thanks so much for being here with us. Be kind and stay healthy out there. Bye.
He's a good boy now.